Hey, what's going on, guys? It's GWReborn for another quick video today. Today's discussion, as shows in the title, how do you know when a gold unit identification is worth identifying versus selling for a gold unit? So first off and foremost, for information on that, gold unids are valued normally around 800 gold to 1K, 1 platinum per item. Some people do 5 or 6 per ecto or 6 or 7 per ecto. It just varies with the price of the ecto. But in general, the cost of an item is worth more non-identified than identified when it comes to the merch food items. The reason I'm saying is an average merch item, when you try to merch it, it's only going to be valued at between 150 gold and 450 gold. But whenever you sell the unit gold, the value of that item can be 800 gold to 1K platinum. So here's an example real quick. So all of these items are unidentified, and you see all of them range around the 50 gold range. These are unidentified. So once you identify them, you're going to notice the cost goes up. Let me just do one real quick as an example. So the ivory bow I just identified, I go to sell. See, look, it instantly went up over 280 gold. So that's just a general view to give you an idea of this discussion. So anyway, my point to be saying is, how do you know if a gold unit is worth identifying or selling? And this goes for the guys that are farming the gold unids and the guys that are just curiously identifying them, not even really realizing, hey, maybe I should be selling these gold unids instead of identifying them. So I got a good set of 30 or 25 gold unids here of all random values. Some of them are Q9, some of them are Q13, some are inscribed, some are non-inscribed. So depending on where you're farming is and where the drop is, because you're the one getting the item, is going to depend on if you know for sure if it's worth identifying or not. One key thing I want to bring up first is, do you know that if it's non-inscribed or if it's inscribed? Mainly, you'll know that by what profession or what campaign you're getting this drop from. For example, if you get it from the end of the deeper Urgas in the lock chests, you know those are going to be uninscribed. The same goes for the guys that are farming in Eye of the North. Those are going to be inscribable, but if you get it from a Prophecies lock chest, those are going to be uninscribable. But Nightfall, all of them are going to be inscribable. But besides the point, majority of the time when you uninscribe, an uninscribable weapon is going to be worth more to identify it than it is to sell it for the Q9s. A lot of the Q12s, such as the one I'm looking at here, this one is more likely going to be worth selling to somebody else because they're going to get the unit gold for their wisdom title versus you unidentifying it. And here, let me just give you an example. If I would have sold this to a guy, I would have got 800 gold to 1 platinum. But now I don't have anything worth of value in this shield. It's a Q12. It isn't going to get any form of value for me to sell a Camadon or any person. You might be able to use it on a hero. But if you're going to go ahead and merge it, look at that. Only 220 gold. Why would I want to merge it if I could have just kept it unidentified and I could have sold it to somebody that's interested in working on their wisdom title for 4 times the cost? So the point of this video is to give you a little eye-opener to say, it is a lot more investment and interest for you guys to spark your mind to say, let me start selling my unit golds instead of identifying them. For example, I wanted to go through this as I already mentioned. Any of the Q9s I have in here, I probably would rather keep and identify if I know where they are dropped from. So if I got, let's say for example, this Flamberge, it's a Q9 inscribed or non-inscribed. It can vary if it's inscribed or non-inscribed for this particular weapon. So would I be rather identify it? I personally would rather identify it because I probably could get 4 or 5 platinum for a Q9 of this skin just because if I perfectly modded it, I would get more value out of that Q9. But if it was a Q10 or a Q13, I would rather keep it unidentified and sell it for the platinum or the ecto value of the unit versus identifying it. So let's go down the list as well. I have some other items. So keep in mind these are random items just for a general idea for Guild Wars items in general for what to identify versus what to sell. So a lot of the items here, when I go down this list, the only one I see that was worth identifying so far was the Flameburge. Any of the Q10s, I instantly know I'm going to keep and sell to others, unless it's a rare skin. So this one right here, Q9 Crescent Blades. So it's a Q9. Obviously, Crescent Blades is a inscribable skin. So I'm not going to get what I need out of that. Probably 90% of the chance is going to be more beneficial for me, even if it's Q9, to sell to a unit gold buyer. So let's go down the list. Q12, I already showed you proof this one was worth selling to Unid versus merching. See, 220 gold is not going to be worth the same as it would if I would have sold it to somebody. Q12, I would sell to Unid, sell to Unid, sell to Unid. Even if this is a Zodiac longbow, it's a really good skin. You could gamble on trying, if it's a non-inscribed, to get a +5 energy or 15 above 50, but most likely 95% of the time you're going to get a horrible mod, so you're only going to get 250 gold out of it versus the Unid's value of 1k or so. So another one, Q12, Unid gold sell, Unid gold sell. Another Zodiac longbow, Unid gold sell. Now here, a Zodiac hammer. Even this is a rare skin, so a lot of guys are buying these already. Even if it's a hammer, I'm going to go ahead and identify it, just because even if it was Q9 inscribed or non-inscribed, it's a more commonly known skin people are buying for more than 1k, which is the Unid value. So it would be worth identifying it, even if you had horrible mods on it, because it's Q9. You can probably get a few ecto for it. I've sold hammers, Zodiacs before for 4 or 5 ecto. And the same goes for the other skins. It doesn't really matter what skin. Zodiac is just one of the 40 or 50 skins out there that people are interested in. So let's go down the list as more. Zodiac, or the Jade Swords. This is a Q9, this is a Q11. I put these in here as a good example. So Q11 and Q9, should I identify it or not? Q11, no. Q9, you use your own judgment. I personally am not, because I know it's inscribable and I'm going to be better off selling it. Nobody's going to be buying this skin even at Q9 inscribable, so it's going to most likely be a merch item. But I would rather sell it to Unit Gold than the merch value. And the last thing here, Zodiac 10, Q10 Zodiac Sword. This is another example of a Zodiac, just like any other skin. It's a Q10. Nobody's going to buy a Q10 most likely. Even if it's a good skin and a Q10 or a Q13 or etc., any of those ranges, I would rather sell it to a Unit Gold buyer if it was inscribable. I know this one's inscribable, so I'm going to go ahead and sell it to a Unit Gold seller or buyer, instead of me identifying it. If it was non-inscribed, I would gamble and try to get a +5 or 15 above 50. But it's inscribable, so I'm not going to identify it. This is another one identified to inscribable, not needed. Any of the armor pieces are instantly just thinking probably going to be better to sell to somebody, because majority of the superior vigors, or superior runes nowadays aren't even really worth the gamble. I know you can get a vigor out of it. Those are good to identify, but I would rather not gamble and just get my 1k plat out of it instead of to gamble like 1 in 40%, 1 in 40 chance to get the vigor. Moving on, another one I would sell to Unid. Now here's one I wanted to make sure I pointed out. Another guy here, Oni Blade. It's a Q9, just like if I had a Q9 Zodiac Sword. I know Oni Blades are worth a lot of money, so I'm going to go ahead and identify it. See, I lost out. This is just an example. I knew this one was uninscribed. I knew it was going to be worth more than the platinum if I got a good mod on it. But I ended up identifying it, and it was a non-inscribed like I knew already. But I didn't end up getting the benefit from it. But that's the gamble, you're taking a risk. So at the end of the day, the point of this video is to give you guys a little view for you to understand that if you are identifying these items, 95% of the time, they're either going to be merch food or you're gambling to try to get a good mod on the non-inscribed, but you're not going to get a good mod. So at the end of the day, it's your decision, but I would say make the call to sell any Unid golds that are require 10 and up, and any of the require 9 evens that are horrible mods. And if it's an inscribable, unless it's a decent skin, go ahead and just not identify it and just sell them. So right now, I just gave y'all some good information. I hope this gives you some feedback on this. Let me know in the comments what y'all feel and think on this. This is just my opinion and view for my experience to share to you guys. Let me know what y'all think, and appreciate y'all always watching. This is Reborn out. Later.